Money and money and well-being and clean explosives mean that we can fight a more hostile and more unpleasant war in Ukraine. And the little section I've got here is prompted by one of our viewers that asked me about a particular article in the Telegraph where General Dannatt, retired general, was commenting on the fighting. The headline was "Ukraine is on the verge of splitting Russia's army as Kiev's full operational design becomes clearer. We can expect a decisive battlefield victory soon." So we have a little look at this gentleman, Mr. Decisive, apparently, except when he starts commenting about the Ukrainian battlefield victories, it becomes rather maybe. So let's have a look at what he said. After weeks of patient probing of the Russian defense lines and absorbing irritating criticism from those safely away from the front line, there'll be all the British politicians, of course, the Ukrainian counter-offensive is gaining real momentum. Well, of course, the truth is it is absolutely not. But he goes on to say, over the past 2 months, the Ukrainian battlefield medics have treated many soldiers suffering traumatic amputations as these defensive positions have been probed for their weaker points. He's talking about the Russian positions. This has been a bloody, painstaking process, but one that was essential if the counteroffensive stood any chance of success. The moment would seem to be now or in the next few days and weeks. So he's got it pretty well defined there. It might happen at some stage. Then he talks about the Zaporizhia front. He says that a thrust has been made towards Tokmak. Then the quantifier comes in. This seems to be a reconnaissance force by one of the Western equipped attack brigades. So the general's not even too sure about the units he's talking about. But should this probe break into the Russian lines and offer the possibility of a breakthrough, then the bulk of the Ukrainian second echelon force, the 10th Corps, could be committed towards Melitopol on the coast. So we can see that General Dannatt is very uncertain about everything he's talking about, and that's because what he's trying to say about the front is not true. The Ukrainians are not having a successful counteroffensive. He talks of this may soon create the circumstances for a breakout beyond the defensive zone and into more open country. A successful strike on the axis Tokmak to Melitopol could split the Russian forces, presenting the possibility of those in the Kherson region being cut off and surrounded. This should not be an article in the Telegraph, David, because it simply has not got the substance to back up the former chief of the General Staff commenting. This is, I think we'll just bring this up on the screen, this is a spun piece telling the public what his masters basically want to hear, that Ukraine is winning when in fact Ukraine is not winning.
It's a remarkable piece because it's all speculation, it's all imagination, and it's not what you'd expect from a military man. You'd expect something much more precise. You would expect something that shows knowledge and understanding. We've seen where the Ukrainians have pushed into, and it's maybe something like 5-6 kilometers into formerly Russian-held territory in some places. But we've also seen that they've not yet reached the main Russian lines of defense. And it seems to be entirely too early to talk about breakthroughs when the main engagement's not even started.
This is correct. So we've got a little bit of film which we're going to just play on the slide, and we'll take you through it. Now, this has actually come from Weeb Union. I'm very open in saying UK column is very happy to be using a lot of the excellent analysis. But in this extraordinary event, a Russian tank, which has come in from the left of screen, stops a whole Ukrainian advance. And as the time moves on, you'll see a vehicle come in from the right of screen. And you'll see that eventually this is followed by other vehicles which are simply held up by the single Russian tank and the Russian artillery, and ultimately in some very, very unpleasant scenes, the vehicles now clustered to the right of the tree line are destroyed by the combination of the Russian tank and the artillery. The Russian tank at one point backs off to the left of your screen and then makes another advance, but ultimately this full attack by the Ukrainians is absolutely brought to a halt, and the vehicles, about 7 or 8 of them, are all destroyed. This has been happening across the front, and of course it's partly due to the fact that the Ukrainians are expected to advance without any air cover, something that General Dannatt would never ever have allowed the British Army to do, because it's a suicide mission, but for the Ukrainians they can die. I'd just like to say to the viewers, check this material for yourself. There are many, many good reports. They're producing accurate reports and snippets from the front with videos, photos, geolocation. And this is providing, in some cases, a sort of minute by minute, certainly hour by hour update on what's happening. So I've mentioned Weeb Union. We've also got the military summary channel. We've got Free Russia, and we've got many other people commentating. And of course, their reporting far outpaces the BBC.